Okay, today on Chump Talk, we have our first ever professional football player. He's a defensive back for the Edmonton Elks, formerly the Eskimos, and he's in his second pro season. Scott Mutter, thank you so much for joining Chump Talk today.
Great to have the invite, guys, and thanks for having me.
Yeah, thanks again for coming on, Scott. Just kind of tell us where you are now and what the last couple of weeks have looked like for you. Obviously, you guys are a couple weeks into the season, so just kind of describe what the season's been like for you so far and what you're doing now.
Right. So right now, this very moment, I'm sitting in my kitchen in Edmonton, Alberta. The season is, very young, but already so much has happened for us here in Edmonton. Unfortunately for me, very first quarter of week one, I tore my PCL. So I'm currently on the injured list for about 6 to 8 weeks. I'm on the shelf, is what they tell me. So I don't need a surgery. So that's very good news. But definitely frustrating when you wait for almost 2 years with that canceled 2020 season there, and then for football, and then in your very first quarter, you end up going out there and injuring yourself.
Man,
But yeah, so it's been a little bit of an emotional journey, but the team docs are assuring me that I'll still get to play this year. Right now, the boys are out in BC, they're out in Vancouver. They actually play tonight, so I'll be tuning in my living room, yelling at the TV. It'll be great.
Just talk about the mental battle of that a little bit, because obviously it's got to be frustrating with no seasoning happening last year, and then obviously the start that you got after this year. Just mentally, just what is that like, and just what are you doing to kind of cope with that? Because it's got to be extremely frustrating at times.
Yeah, absolutely. I always in tough times, if you don't like adversity, then football is the wrong game for you. Obviously, there's been a whole another layer of adversity with COVID and the 2020 CFL season getting canceled. But it really goes to show you the guys that are still playing, the guys that are out here, really do love the game. And then as far as my injury, I always just go back to something my college coach used to say, is that no matter how much you love football, sometimes football doesn't love you back, right? It's a physical game by nature. Injuries are a matter of when they happen, not if they happen. So
yeah.
everyone's got to deal with their time in the crucible, and now it's just mine.
And I don't want to, we'll move off the injuries shortly, but 2 years ago, you had your first season. Then we talked about, obviously, last year, CFL didn't play at all due to COVID. And then this year, were you getting more of an opportunity to play a little more than you were your rookie season?
Yeah, so circumstances were such. We had an injury in training camp, and I was actually the starting safety week one
Oh,
for this CFL season, and it was very exciting. Obviously, it's been a dream of mine for as long as I can remember to say that I've been a starter in the
yeah.
CFL. So I had a great camp. Obviously, it was named the starter, and then the very first quarter, I go out there and just a freak, play. It wasn't anything special. It was a play that I've made 100 million times in my career, just making a tackle, and
Yeah.
I got up afterwards and my knee just felt a little funny, so I went over and saw the doctor, and they said, yeah, your PCL is gone. So, but that's as far as working to become a starter, one of my buddies was telling me, hey man, it's kind of cool. I know you got hurt, but it's kind of cool. You're the first ever starting safety for the Edmonton Elks. I was like,
True.
there
True.
you go.
Yeah.
There's always a bright spot. So
Absolutely.
got to stay positive with this sort of stuff.
For sure. Let's go right back to the start of the football career. So it started in high school, I'm assuming, or were you playing before high school?
No, I started in grade 9 was my first season. Yeah.
Grade 9. So you went to high school in London with my buddy Tanner. That's how we got this interview. Shout out to Tanner. But so when in high school did you realize that this was something you loved, or did you play other sports growing up before that, by the way?
Yeah, I was always playing hockey and baseball were the main ones growing up.
Okay.
And then in public school, I did everything that I could. I ran cross country, track and field,
Yeah.
basketball, volleyball, anything that was athletic. I always just had way too much energy as a kid, and I still do. People that know me,
Yeah.
God, you never shut up. You had too much energy. But when I got to high school, uh, I started playing football. One of my good buddies, his name's Dave Collins. he said, "Hey man, let's go play football." I was like, "Oh yeah, man, I don't know. Like I'll go try it, whatever." And it was almost like immediate that first season that I was like, "Wow, like this,
Loved
like,
it.
I really love this game."
Yeah.
You get to hit people, you get to like run around, catch the football, throw the football, all that good stuff. It was, it was just one of those things where it was the perfect fit for me.
What age do you start realizing that playing pro football could be a possibility for you? Like how far into your playing days were you into that?
Right. Yeah. Well, I mean, I actually had a coach in high school. My senior football coach was very adamant. He would always tell me, I think you're good enough. One day you might be able to play in the CFL. And when you're like 17, 18, like that's a great compliment, but it's kind of like, okay, I'm just focused on trying to go to university.
Yeah.
Like that's, I'm just trying to focus on getting an athletic scholarship to go play here in Ontario. So I think it was probably at Wilfrid Laurier, my senior season, that we played a preseason game out in I think we were at Concordia. No, it was McGill that year. We were playing a preseason game at McGill, and after the game, my coach walked up to me and he introduced one of the agents in the CFL to me, and he said, "You know what, man? I've been watching you for a while now. I think if you have a good senior season this year, then you'll have a chance to get drafted." And it kind of opened my eyes a little bit because I was
Yeah.
always kind of the guy that focused on in the moment, not like looking too far ahead. I was always about, this year's team and what can I do to help this year's team, everything like that. Um, so I grinded my way year to year that way. And then lo and behold, my senior season, here it comes. Here's the opportunity. Wow, you think I can play in the CFL? All right, well, I'm just going to keep doing what I've been doing then.
Yeah.
You're a safety now, but did you ever play any other positions? Like, were you ever on the offensive side of things at all, or were you just kind of always in that safety position?
Yeah, in high school, I played both sides of the ball.
Yeah.
Um, when I went into university, they told me, you can play offense or you can play defense. We think you're a good enough athlete to do either or, but we strongly recommend that you pick defense. so,
Yeah.
so that was kind of the role I was thrust into, and then.
Were you happy with that, or were you wanting anything?
No, it's fun to catch passes and score touchdowns, but it's also fun to be on the field and play. So if
Yeah.
your coach tells you, hey, you can do either, but we strongly recommend you. We have a spot for you over here. It's probably the
You
spot for you.
take that hint.
Yeah, and I mean, tackling somebody is more fun than being tackled.
Yeah,
I've been on both sides of that.
For
So,
sure. So talk about Laurier then, because that's where you went to university, correct?
Yeah.
Yeah. So 4 years.
Yeah, 4 years. Wilfrid Laurier Golden Hawk. Won a Yates Cup there in 2016. Lost another one in 2017. It was just an amazing time. I played with so many great players. I look around the CFL right now. I think we have a player that I played with on every single CFL team right now.
wow.
Yeah, we had a good group of guys, really good coaches led by Michael Falds, who when he was coming through, he was the quarterback at Western. And I mean, I'm a London guy. I would go to Western football games all the time. And so I grew up watching him play. And then, lo and behold, in university, he's my head coach. So it's funny the way things work out like that.
For sure.
What were some of the highs and lows from playing at Wilford?
I would say just dealing with, wins and losses. Because like I said, we had a really talented team. We always knew we had really talented teams. And when I first got there, it was kind of a program that had been building into a winner. That's why I kind of chose to go there, because I wanted to be a part of making something special there. So my first year, we go 4-4, lose in the OUA semifinals. My second year, we go all the way to the Yates Cup, win it, go out to Laval for the national semifinals, get our doors blown off by Laval by like 30 points. But it was, so come back the next year, make it back to the Yates Cup, lose the Eights Cup, the Western. And then my senior season, we end up going 4-4 and losing out on the playoffs, like not even being in the playoffs. So, just in a nutshell there, you see highest of highs, winning the Ontario Championship, getting a chance to play at a national semifinal game, one game away from the Vanier Cup, and then all the way to, we didn't even make the playoffs some years. So it's just like I was saying earlier, football is a funny game, and sometimes you can love it with all your heart, but it doesn't love you back. Whether you get injured or you get a couple bad breaks and you lose a couple games and miss the playoffs, it's full of diversity.
What about as far as personal plays go at your time at Wilfrid Laurier? Is there one play that sticks out for you as a highlight?
Yeah, people ask me this all the time, and I always think of one particular play. I mean, I've had lots of great play. I was a starter for 3 full seasons and started games in my first year, so I had lots of time to make a lot of plays.
Yeah.
And I scored a touchdown in university. Nice. I intercepted a lot of balls. Made a lot of big plays. But there's one play that I'll always remember, and it was in a OUA semifinal game at Laurier against McMaster, and I want to say it was 2017. So my 3rd year at Laurier. We're winning the game, I think, by maybe at the time like 7 points. It was 1-score game. It was a really tight game.
Yeah.
And they're driving. They're in our red zone. They're on like the 10-yard line. And at the time, they had a really good receiver who's now in the CFL. His name's Dan Peterman. And they loved – in this area of the field, they loved throwing a specific route to Dan Peterman, and they would score almost every time because he was so good at running it.
What was the route?
So the route back in university, we called it a door route. I've heard it called a poison route. It's basically so you run up the field, you fake like you're jabbing out, and then you take one step out, and then you break it back across the middle.
All right.
So the whole idea of the route is to try and get the defensive back covering you to jump outside, think you're running an out route, and then break across his face, and you're wide open most of the time, especially the way this guy ran it. So they're driving. I know this play is coming, and the way our coverage is set up, I'm at safety. Our Sam linebacker is covering Dan Peterman. And I'll never forget, I looked at him and I said, listen, that route is coming. Like the door route is coming. He's about to run it right now. And he said, okay, yes, I got it. It's like, all right. So down said Hut, he runs up the field. I see the out step and I go, okay, there it is. Yeah. And I see my Sam linebacker bite on it hard. I see him run outside. And I went, oh, no. Here I come out of my safety spot. I'm hauling ass over there. And I got there, broke up the play right on the goal line. I got up all fired up. They ended up having to kick a field goal. We won the game. It was a tight game. But it was the most instinctual play I think I've ever made. And it was one of those plays where, it happened. And then afterwards, I got up and I was like, how did I do that? I was like, I didn't even have time to think about that. I just sort of, my body did it.
That's awesome.
Yeah.
That's awesome.
That's always been my favorite play I've ever made.
We got to ask the flip side of that question then. Has there ever been an instinctual play like that where you thought you had it and then just got burned?
Absolutely. Yeah, absolutely. There's been, sometimes a lot of athletes will tell you sometimes they remember the bad plays more than the good plays because they kind of haunt them, keep them up at night. But there's definitely been a lot of those.
Looking back at your career so far, I'm sure there's been many, but what moment do you look back on as your most proud moment so far?
My most proud moment. Oh, hang on. Sorry, I got my alarm going.
No worries. You got more time to think of that proud moment now.
Yeah.
I mean, first tackle in the CFL's got to be.
Yeah, I got. I've been lucky enough to play this game at some pretty, at a pretty high level. with my second year in the CFL here now, I've played at university, even back to high school. I was on a really good team, winning, championships and stuff like that. I played with so many great players that it's hard to pick out, a favorite moment. Um, it might be the first time I ever heard my name called on TSN.
Yeah.
It was because sometimes, if you make a play in the game, you made a play in the game, you'll go and kind of like watch the highlights and kind of see if they mention it, whatever. So I remember one game in 2019 against BC here in Edmonton. I was on the punt team. We punted the ball, ran down the field, and I dropped the returner for a big loss. It was a big play. The crowd was going wild, and
Nice.
and I gave the shot a nice flex to the crowd and everything.
Is there a picture of that anywhere?
I don't know if there's a picture. I definitely have the video saved on my phone.
Nice.
That was Chris Cuthbert, who used to call games. He calls NHL on Sportsnet now.
Yeah, he was probably like the most legendary CFL play-by-play guy from what I remember.
Yeah, and he's calling Scott Hutter, the rookie out of Wilfrid Laurier, on the tap. And I have that saved on my phone because that's just you're like, wow, they called him on TSN.
Is that your ringtone to your phone when someone calls you?
Oh man, if I could figure out a way to make it my ringtone, I would.
This is kind of a curiosity question, but how many guys would you say on average are drafted from a Canadian university each year?
I would say, I'm not sure what the data is. I would say anywhere from half of the draft to 3/4 of the draft come from U Sports schools. Because the way the CFL draft works is the only players that teams draft are Canadians. So whether they're Canadians playing in the NCAA or Canadians playing at U Sports schools, and then all the American guys are just free agents. They just sign them as free agents, or they hold their rights for a couple of years, and then if they get cut from the NFL, they come up to the CFL. There's definitely a good mix of Canadians that play in NCAA schools and at U Sports schools. Recently, it seems like there's been a lot of U Sport athletes that get drafted in the CFL. I'm not sure what the data is there.
Was 2019 your first year? Was that the year Johnny Manziel went to Montreal for a little bit?
No, so I just missed Johnny. I think Johnny was either 2017 or 2018. But I did play with a guy who's sacked Johnny Manziel. So I played with defensive end. Well, I still play with him, but I played with him at Laurier. His name was Kwaku Boateng.
Okay.
And now he's still here in Edmonton. But yeah, I remember watching him a couple of years ago in one of his first seasons. He sacked Johnny and then gave him the money sent.
Oh yeah. You have to. I wonder if Tim Tebow's making his way to Canada now after
Jacksonville just released him as a tight end. So who knows?
Did you have a big oh shit moment I'm playing in the CFL, just a tackle that went wrong, or just something you got burned on at all, or just an eye-opening moment for you in the CFL?
I don't know if there's one particular moment. I mean, definitely that first year, you're playing with a lot of really high-level athletes. Guys that have gone to really big D1 schools in the States, guys that have played years in the NFL that come up here after they're done in the NFL or they get cut from the NFL. So it's definitely a fast game, way faster than, Canadian university football. And it's, complex game. You learn a lot from the coaching staff as a young guy. I don't know if there's one specific play, but definitely it was an adjustment to speed and scheme and everything like that. Yeah.
Okay, here's a question from two guys that have never played football, so it might sound pretty stupid, but when you're on special teams and it's a kickoff for your team, so it's going deep to the kick returner. What's the strategy for like where the guys are lined up? Like the only way I picture is just everybody's just full tilt trying to take off that kick returner's head. But what kind of strategy is there to that?
Yeah, out of all the plays in football, that is the play that is most,
Just do it.
such a meathead play, right? You're just
freestyle.
lining up about 70 yards away from a guy, kick him the ball, and go run down a straight line and take his head off. But
Yeah.
there is a little bit of strategy to it. You want to put, different size bodies in different spots depending on, where you're kicking the ball. And you want to try and read the blocks of the kick return as best you can, because they'll either try and run it left, right, or right up the middle. And yeah, you'll have like a couple guys on different levels as like a safety or something, just in case something breaks, that they're still back there with a chance to go chase it down. But yeah, I mean, there is a little bit of scheme to it, but kickoff really is just, run down, make a guy miss, and then try and take a guy's head off.
How much adrenaline is going through you in that moment? Just like you're running as fast as you possibly can.
A lot.
Yeah.
Especially when you're in a situation where you have 30 or 40,000 people screaming at you.
Yeah. Okay.
And, here in Edmonton, right before the kickoff, they have like a big air horn siren. The crank ones. They
yeah.
they get it going. The music's going. Everyone is anticipating the kickoff. All week they've been excited for this, and they're sitting down in their seats with their beer and everything. And so it's the adrenaline is pretty high. You try and keep it low as possible at least I do during game day, because like I always say, you don't want to blow your load coming out of the tunnel.
Yeah. No.
You want to still have some energy.
Yeah. I like that.
To play the game.
Yeah. I like that saying. I'm going to use that for sure. But this is the other thing I was going to ask. I almost forgot. So I did a road trip through Alberta a couple of years ago, and I was blown away. And I think a lot of people from Ontario, from our area where you grew up, where we are now, would be surprised how insane some of the fans in the CFL are, because the Argos are the closest to us, and it's not a massive fan base there yet. I think it could get there. I like the move to BMO Field for them for sure, but can you describe how insane the fans are at the Edmonton games? And I know like BC has some pretty passionate fans, in Saskatchewan too. Can you describe those fans?
Yeah, people love the CFL. It's people always, there's different crowds. People that don't watch a lot of CFL, they sometimes think it's just a dinky little league and whatnot. It's a cute little league. But the people that are into the CFL, like, we get crowds of 30,000-40,000 people. In Saskatchewan, they sell out almost every game.
Yeah.
And they'll let you know if you're not playing up to par. Like we've had a little bit of a rocky start this year, and we're 0-2 right now. And the fans, they'll let you know. They booed us off the field at halftime of our second game. They and rightfully so. They expect a winner. And if you're not going to be that, they'll let you know, because they pay good money to come watch us play.
Mm-hmm.
So it's definitely interesting. I had to adjust to taking the bus or the train and seeing like people wearing like team gear,
for sure,
or seeing like a billboard of your starting quarterback in downtown. I'm like, I just had lunch with that guy. I just, there he is on the billboard. Like,
yeah, that's sweet. That's awesome.
Last year, there were talks of the CFL and XFL joining. I'm just curious to hear what your thoughts are on that, like back at the time when it was a possibility.
Yeah.
Did the players actually hear anything about that, or was it mostly just media talk?
It's mostly owner media talk, right? The owners are always looking for a way to make more money, and rightfully so. It is a business, and if the owners make more money, eventually it trickles down and the players make more money. So I'm all for it as long as we make more money and all that. I do know that a lot of people were concerned about, because obviously Canadian rules and American rules for football are different. We play with 3 downs. They play with 4. We play with a bigger field, a bigger football. they play with a smaller field and a smaller football. And, you know, there's so much history in the CFL. It's been around for like over 100 years. And a lot of people, especially diehard CFL fans, don't want to see that compromised just to get in with an American league that's, you know, failed twice in history already.
Exactly.
I mean, so I always say that's above my pay grade. They don't pay me enough to worry about that kind of stuff.
Yeah.
So I just focus on trying to be the best football player that I can be for the Edmonton Elks, and let the other things, the other situations, and let the chips fall where they may, I guess.
In your mind, what do you hope to accomplish in the coming years here?
First of all, obviously to win a Grey Cup. That's, you know, that's why any athlete does anything, is they want to win. They want to win the championship. I play right now with guys that have won the Grey Cup, and they say, you know, it really is the best feeling in the world, and like it's amazing. And you know, you work so hard for so long with a group of guys, and to come out on top and say, you know, we are the best this year. Like we did it, we won. I feel like that would be like the ultimate accomplishment of my career. But I also know myself, and I know that once I have one, I'm immediately going to want two.
Yeah.
Once I have two, I'm immediately going to want three. And, you know, so it's an addiction. So winning a Grey Cup, that would be obviously number one. Becoming a legitimate starter in this league for more than, you know, a quarter. that would be number two for me. And just to have an impact on young people that watch the CFL. I love it when I see kids at our games and you walk up to them in full pads and your helmet and everything, and you give them a high five, or, you know, you say what up to them, and it just like lights up their world. They look at you like you're a superhero.
Yeah, that's
and
awesome.
It's the best feeling. I love the team gets you out there doing community events and stuff like that. I love interacting with the community. I mean, Edmonton is such a great place, so passionate about football. They really love, you know, formerly the Eskimos, but now the Elks. They love their football team. And, yeah, I really love it here.
And throw a pick six on there someday. Pick six.
Sure, absolutely.
All right. Okay, we'll kind of end on this. I prepped you a little bit for it. We like to ask our guests at the end if there's any, usually it's ice, but for you, on the field or off the field, stories from any of your playing days that come to mind, just as good stories our listeners would enjoy hearing.
Yeah, I was thinking about this, and obviously, you know, I've been around a lot of locker rooms. I've been in a lot of different situations because of this game. And there's some stories that, you know, I just can't tell.
Yeah, for sure.
Yeah.
They're too good. Those are personal stories.
Yeah,
but,
for sure.
So to keep like a kind of a G-rated story, I think this is a nice one. Way back when I started playing football in grade 9, I can remember, so I guess, what are you in grade 9? You're 14, 15 years old.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah. So I'd never played football before, right? I was a hockey player growing up, so I understood, like, you know, pads and everything, you know, getting dressed with a lot of pads. But football is a little bit different pads, a little bit different equipment that you need. So first day of football practice in grade 9, they hand you all this stuff, and it's, you know, a big pile of stuff, and, you know, you've never used it before, you've never put it on before. You're just kind of like figuring it out on the fly. Mm-hmm. And, you know, for those of you that don't know, football pants have spots for knee pads and they have spots for thigh pads, and they're just little pieces of foam that obviously cover your knees and a little bit higher up your thighs. So my first day of football practice, I can remember putting the pants on, putting the pads on, or putting the pads in the pants, and I'm like, all practice, I'm like, these pants don't fit. Like I got pants that just don't fit. The one leg feels longer than the other leg or something. Like it just didn't feel right. And so 2.5 hours later, however long the practice was, I'm out there the entire time, like fidgeting with these pants, trying to like learn this brand new game that I've never played before. And so I walk up to the coach after, and I'm like, Coach, I don't know if I need new pants. Like these, I don't think these ones fit. Like, I don't know what's going on. And he takes a look at me and he's like, well, you put the pads in the wrong spot. Like you put the knee pads up where the thigh pads are supposed to be. I don't know where I put the thigh pads. I think I put the thigh pads like just sitting in the top of the pants, maybe. I don't know.
Yeah.
But I don't know. It was embarrassing, obviously, but we got it sorted out. And I think that's kind of just a cute, funny story to show that no matter where you start, as long as you put your head down and work really hard at something,
Sure.
you can accomplish really good things. I went from a guy that on my first day of football practice, I didn't even know how to put on my pants.
Yeah.
And now I play in the CFL, the highest level of Canadian football there is.
Yeah.
So it's, I was thinking about that, and I was thinking about that the other day, and I was like, wow, I really have come a long way. I can
Definitely.
I can attest, I can put on football pants properly now. I have learned that skill. So,
And are you 97 born?
I am a 97 born.
Same as me. So you're 24.
Yeah, 24 years old.
So you got a long way to go still.
Yeah, a long way to go. And people always ask me, how long do you want to play football? Because eventually there's a life after football, and you have to take the helmet off and hang the cleats up. But I've always I'm gonna play till they turn the lights out on me. I'm gonna just play till they tell me I can't play anymore, because I love this game so much. It's my favorite thing in the entire world to do, and I feel so lucky to be able to do it and call it my job. Yeah, so I'm going to do it for as long as humanly possible.
Awesome.
Yeah.
Cool. Did you have one more, or are we good?
No, just 6 to 8 weeks. You'll be coming back hopefully at some point in the season here. Just what do you kind of expect for yourself just for the rest of the season here? What kind of impact do you think you can have on your team down the latter stretch of the season here?
I'm just excited to get back to practicing and playing with the guys. Whatever role that the coaching staff gives me, whether it's as a starter, whether it's as a rotational player, whether it's as a special teamer, whether it's as, the guy that brings out water to the team. I'm just, I'm excited to be back and healthy and practicing and playing with the guys, and hopefully, I know that we will get this season turned around. Obviously, like I said, we're 0-2, a little bit of a rough start, but it starts tonight. The boys are out in Vancouver playing the BC Lions tonight. Like I said, I'll be on my couch yelling at my TV.
Love it.
It'll be a good time.
Do you know when you're coming to Toronto this year?
Yeah, so the Elks will be in Toronto next week. I think it's on Saturday. So unfortunately, I'll still be on the shelf. I won't be.
Is that the only time in Toronto this year?
Yeah, so that's the only one in Toronto. I think we play in Ottawa later this season as well. So that's my family will at least get to drive up from London and see me play. Hopefully, I'm back by then. But whatever role it is that the team needs from me or sees fit, I'm just I'm all about this team winning and winning with these group of guys, because people always say this, but we really do have a really good locker room, and I really enjoy coming to work every day. It makes it nice when you have a really good group of guys to hang out with and to work hard with. So I'm really looking forward to being back.
That's awesome. Well, you can put me into the but I'm going to try to get more dialed in. You can put me in the category of a casual CFL fan, but I'm going to try to get more dialed. And I don't have any ties to a team right now, so I think I just became an Elks fan then.
Yeah.
Well, the Elks, the new branding of the team is unbelievable. They did a really good job.
Okay.
With such a storied franchise. It was, it's always tough to change the name and everything, but they did a really good job. Everyone's really loving the logo, and I hear merchandise is flying off the shelves. So
love it. Well, maybe we'll have to get a couple Hutter jerseys someday.
Yeah,
absolutely. Hey, you guys let me know. I'll hook you up.
Okay, sounds good. And if you come back to London in the off season, we should get together then with Tanner.
Sounds good. I'll be there.
All right, man. Thanks for doing this.
Yeah, thank you.
Appreciate it. Thank you guys for having me. Good luck to you.
Have a good one.